The Dodgers may have just done something crazy at the trade deadline with their acquisitions. They may have cooked. Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomes, he answers questions about their deadline. He reacts to the players that they did receive. He talks about why the Dodgers ultimately traded Dustin May. All that more coming up next on a late night Dodgers Dugout Live after dark.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warren, in a parade. We got a parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Milky Magic. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out. What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Cover the Dodgers for Dodgers Nation, credential member of the media. If you're new to the show, lots of new viewers today, lots of new listeners. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you're a long-time subscriber, if you want to support the channel every single day, hit the like button and drop a comment down below. I want your reaction to the Dodgers trade deadline. I want your grade that you gave them. My grade originally was a B-. We'll see if that gets elevated, because we are going to break down Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomes. He spoke with the media after the deadline ended, and he answered questions about the additions, getting reliever Brock Stewart, getting him back in L.A., getting Alex Call from the Washington Nationals, trading away Dustin May. Did Dustin May request a trade from the Dodgers? He answers that question. Also, the prospects that they got in return for Dustin May. This could end up being a big dub for the Dodgers at this deadline. But here was Dodgers general manager Brandon Gomes reacting to the moves they made, specifically Brock Stewart and Alex Call.
Coming into the deadline, we felt like, our focus and acute need was going to be a right-handed high-end reliever after we lost Evan for the year. And being able to reunite with Brock, we felt like, he's in the upper tier of right-handed relievers. He's been absolutely dominant against right this year and performing really well. And then obviously knowing the person and how hard he works and, the relationships he's had here, we were really excited to get him back in the mix. And then with Alex, addressing some versus left, outfield depth, and this guy's just a straight grinder, works at bats. Playing against him, he's always incredibly frustrating to try to game plan for and get out. So I think it was a nice balance to fill some, some holes and continue to build out with a really functional roster on top of the already really strong talent we had.
So you hear Gomes right there. They still believe that they have the best roster in baseball when healthy. I see comments down below. We got Steven Blevins. We've got YLRG3665 saying the Padres got better, the Mets got better, the Dodgers got. Well, the Dodgers need to get healthy, and they will have a better roster than the Padres and the Mets and other teams in the National League. I am very confident of that. We'll break that down a little more in depth because he actually addresses the moves that the Padres made. But let's spend a little time here talking about the moves they made. We did a whole video on Brock Stewart. We did one on Alex Call. First and foremost, you got Brock Stewart for a player in James Outman that had absolutely zero future here in Los Angeles. One that you weren't going to develop into an everyday player. One that is already getting close to 30 that had zero future on your roster in any capacity. And in most cases for James Outman, you would get nothing. Like, you literally would get nothing for James Outman of value. Maybe a low-level lottery ticket prospect, something like that. They got Brock Stewart, who has been one of the better relievers in baseball this year. He truly has been. And not only that, he's under another year of team control. He's been extremely effective. You've been a Dodgers fan that's watched his bullpen struggle. They have the 21st bullpen in baseball when it comes to team ERA. You've seen their high dollar, $72 million man lead the league in blown saves, and Tanner Scott was 7. Well, guess what? With Brock Stewart, he has blown exactly 1 lead this year. He has been extremely effective coming in and getting holds. He's done that all year. He really has. 14 holds this year, 1 blown lead all season. And a 2.38 ERA, a 2.25 expected ERA in 39 games, 41 strikeouts. Last 3 seasons with the Twins, a 2.33 ERA. He's been one of the most underrated relievers in baseball. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that he was behind Johan Duran and Griffin Jax. So, yeah, of course. Is Mason Miller better than Brock Stewart? Sure. But you gave up James Outman to get him. The Padres, to get Mason Miller, they gave up the 3rd best prospect in baseball, Leo DeVries. And you look at just the other prospects they give. Their 4th best prospect, their 13th best prospect, their 17th best prospect. And yes, you got Mason Miller, a fireballer under team control through 2029. But AJ Preller has already mentioned that he wants to move him to a starter. With that delivery, that's just a bad idea. Without putting bad juju on anyone, that's not a good idea. So you look at what the Phillies had to pay to get Johan Duran. 2 top 6 prospects for them. The Dodgers gave up James Outman. It's like they got Brock Stewart for free. It's like they got him for free, and he's been one of the better relievers in baseball this season. I mean, AJ Preller to get Mason Miller, look, sure, great reliever. Operative word, reliever in all caps, a reliever. And I'm sure the Dodgers, I can tell you, they checked in on Mason Miller, right? But I guarantee it had to go something like, okay, rushing, okay, DePaula, okay, Hope, give us the big guns, and then maybe we'll consider it. And even then, if you're the A's, you're in a better spot by taking DeVries because of his upside, the fact he's the 3rd best prospect in baseball. But AJ Preller to get Mason Miller had to give up all those prospects. He probably threw in SeaWorld, the San Diego Zoo, the Tony Gwynn statue, La Jolla Beach, Gaslamp, Blink-182, Torrey Pines, Tony Hawk, LaDainian Tomlinson, Tijuana, the Channel 4 news team. The prospect capital cost was so astronomically high that you have to feel like it was just such a massive pay to get that. And you look at what you get with Brock. Look, red is good. When you go to Savant page, you want to see as much red as possible. 90th percentile expected ERA, 90th percentile expected batting average, 89th percentile strikeout rate, 29.5%, whiff rate in elite territory. And then a lot of times when you see guys with those numbers, it's, okay, but they can't induce soft contact. Hard hit percentage in the 91st percentile, barrel percentage in the 92nd percentile. This is one of the most underrated relievers in baseball, and the only reason why they're able to get him at this discounted rate is for one reason and one reason only, and that is the fact that he has never thrown more than 40 innings in a season. So, yes, the Dodgers and an injury-prone pitcher, name a match more made in heaven. So, look, I like the fact they're going to use him in different spots, and I like the fact that you're not bringing in a guy that has to be your closer, that you have to plug it in that role. And I've been telling you on this show for months, the second that Evan Phillips went down, they were going to add someone. And Brandon Gomes points that out, the fact that this roster is essentially the one that they made in the offseason when everyone was saying that they ruined baseball. When I said that you should just go to the Louvre, take down the Mona Lisa, put the roster for the Dodgers there because of how good it looked. Outside of the injury to Evan Phillips, for the most part, this roster is intact, and Brock Stewart is a healthy addition to this roster. And here was Brandon Gomes talking about the difference between the Brock Stewart that they're getting now and the one that he saw years ago when he was with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, when we had Brock early on, obviously he was mostly starting, so that's, when you get shortened up and head into the pen, you're going to see an increase in stuff, and he's worked incredibly hard on his delivery and his pitches. He's added, a double plus breaking ball on top of the changeup that he had when he was here. So, it's a dynamic arsenal, and being able to deploy him in high leverage situations is something we're really excited about. I mean, I think how our bullpen is constructed, and especially once we get some other guys back, like Doc will have a lot of different options to go to. And I think that's the beauty of having a really talented, deep pen. And it's, going to be like, who's up that day, who's, where does the matchup make the most sense, and just have a high level of trust in a bunch of different guys, and to be able to go out and finish a game that way is kind of the best way to go out and do it.
Absolutely. And he mentioned that pitch mix, the four-seamer averaging 96.1 miles per hour. It's been extremely effective. One of the best four-seamers from a reliever this year. Opponents hitting 191 off of it, slugging just 294. Mixes in a sweeper, a changeup, a cutter, a sinker a little bit of the time. I'm sure they'll have some conversations about how they have that mix. And I like the fact that he points out that, yeah, guys get healthy. Sure, that's a big if. But Tanner Scott, elite last year against the Dodgers. Ask Shohei Ohtani. You're going to get Michael Kopech back. Kirby Yates, hopefully. Look, the truth is, when that splitter ain't splitting, that's basically just a hanger that they're banging. That's basically just kind of a mid-fastball that guys are crushing. So if he finds a feel for that splitter, you're feeling better about that pitch. Got a super chat. Want to read this super chat, guys? Welcome to Dodgers Dugout Live After Dark. This is from Frackman55. Even if they get better pitching, our offense, the whole team, I can't hit a beach ball with men in scoring position, should have May. $9.99. Appreciate the super chat. They've been one of the better teams with runners in scoring position. We'll get to that later, too. We're going to talk more about just this deadline. But as far as Brock Stewart goes, for James Outman, by the way, I did reach out to James Outman. I wished him well. I pointed out the fact that James Outman, in his career at Target Field in Minnesota, he is 4 for 11 with 2 home runs, OPSing 1267. So I'm excited for James Outman. I remember hanging out with him and being the first guy to find out that James Outman actually had a rock in his locker in the clubhouse, that he had a smiley face sharpied onto it, and he named that rock Rocka, and actually had coffee stains on the rock because he would actually feed this rock coffee. So, look, I know it didn't work out for James Outman with the Dodgers, but he deserves this opportunity. I'm excited because the Dodgers basically got Brock Stewart for free. They truly did. They really, really did. And then you had the fact that this, Mason Miller, ridiculous price. Johan Durant, ridiculous price. Ryan Helsley goes to the Mets. Guess what? Pete Fairbanks didn't get dealt. He's still with the Tampa Bay Rays. David Bednar, big price to the Yankees, right? Let's just be honest here. I mean, they were just top dollar for relievers. And then Brandon Gomes was asked about were the Dodgers sniffing around for bigger moves. The first name that comes to mind is Steven Kwan. And here's what Gomes had to say about that. With the question, were the Dodgers in pursuit of bigger names? How far those talks go? Here's what Gomes said.
I mean, we're always, as we've shown in the past, we're always having those conversations on ways to, add impact type talent. And we feel like, what we did with Brock is adding an impact type right-handed reliever. So we're always in those conversations and trying to figure out how to make this team better. And we felt, what we came away with is, a really strong core of talent that we already had, and then we're able to address some needs and continue to make this team better. Yeah, I think it's always about how does everything fit together with what our current roster is, what our needs are, and we went into this season with a really high bar of talent, and outside of losing Evan, we're in that same spot. So we felt like this is an incredibly talented group that as we get healthy and these guys hit their stride, we feel like we're in a great position for another deep run into October.
See, that's what really stood out to me. That part towards the middle there where he says this roster outside of Evan Phillips is for the most part intact, or they're confident that it will by season's end be intact. And with that goal in mind of going out there and getting a reliever that's good against right-handed hitters, well, I don't know. Let's take a look at Brock Stewart's numbers. Right-handed hitters against Brock Stewart this year are hitting 104 with a 178 on base, a 149 slugging percentage at 327 OPS. He has been absolutely dominant against righties. And when you have him going great against righties, if Tanner Scott can get back to the guy that we know that he is deep down inside, I think this will take some pressure off Tanner Scott, and hopefully he can get healthy and dominate lefties. And then you get those guys back that we've talked about, the Kopechs, and Yates kind of realized that potential once again and what he could be for this team. He was really good early on. He's had some moments too. And then you got Vesia, you got Brusdar Graterol coming back. They definitely have some pieces. And then there's Alex Call. So let's spend some time talking about Alex Call, because the first thing that I think about when I think of Alex Call is I think of left field. I think of what does that mean for the corner outfield spots, because Michael Conforto, hey, man, you guys ever been at your job and you're just like, man, I don't know, my boss looking at me weird, messed up on some assignments, I'm getting vibes. Should I update this LinkedIn profile? I mean, should I start asking friends, hey, you guys hiring? And then just kind of like get it all together. You get it all together late, and then somehow, some way you keep that job, you never look back. That might be the case for Michael Conforto, because the truth of the matter is that he's been one of the Dodgers' best hitters in July. In July, he's hitting 273 with an 827 OPS. Now, I don't want to hear a clock is right, a squirrel finds a nut, First of all, I appreciate the trash talk. I love when you guys talk trash. I actually live for it. I think it's what makes the show really fun, is I love all your personalities, and I love it. Don't stop doing it, but just know that I'm going to respond to it. I'm usually going to respond to it with some facts. And the truth is that Michael Conforto hasn't just been one of the just kind of holding, hitting his weight in the month of July. The truth is that Michael Conforto has been one of the most consistent hitters for this team this month. He really, really has. And if you look at this month for the Dodgers, Michael Conforto has a 132 weighted runs created plus. The two Dodgers ahead of him, it's not Shohei Ohtani. It isn't. Shohei Ohtani actually has a lesser weighted runs created plus than Conforto this month. Only two Dodgers that have a higher weighted runs created plus in the month of July are Miguel Rojas and Will Smith. Fine. Okay. You want to just do traditional, old school batting type of stats. Batting average, he's hitting 273 this month. The only Dodger that has a better batting average than Michael Conforto is Will Smith with a 349 batting average this month. His batting average this month is better than Freddie, better than Miggy, better than Pages, better than Teo, better than Betts. Shohei's hitting 204 this month. Tommy Edmonds hitting 156. And the other thing, too, is the fact that Michael Conforto has been doing a pretty decent job against lefties and righties. But with Alex Call, he's been a consistent bat. 274 this year, a 118 weighted runs created plus, so he's 18% above league average. 9 doubles. Not a guy that is a big home run guy, has just 3 home runs. He's not going to be his big bopper, right? So don't look for that. Does have a couple of triples. But what he does well that this team can benefit from is defense, first and foremost, solidifying some defense. We'll talk about that more in a second. But also, against right-handed pitchers, a 124 weighted runs created plus, hitting over 300 against righties this year. And Brandon Gomes was asked about how they're going to use Alex Call and if it is going to be a platoon situation with Michael Conforto. And here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think the way Michael's swinging it right now, and he's handling both sides, I think we have the opportunity to mix Alex around. And obviously sometimes there's off days that are needed in different scenarios. So that's, kind of how Doc wants to use him. But we know we really like the talent and how he can fit in. And if guys need a day or two, or if there's a specific matchup that Doc prefers, we can go down that path and feel really good about the at-bat quality and what he's going to do to lengthen the lineup.
So that's definitely tells you how highly they think of Michael Conforto right now. By the way, Michael Conforto, if he has a really strong end of his season, if he for somehow, some way, I mean, like Tommy Edman won the NLCS MVP. No one would have predicted that. Michael Conforto wins the NLCS MVP, World Series MVP, something crazy like that. That'd be baseball, right? If he does that, by the way, I'm going to do a shoey with like a sour apple Four Loko that I'm going to have to buy off eBay from like 2010, just because how crazy that would be. But think about Alex Call. He has played 91 games in center field throughout his career. He's played more games in center than any other position. He's played 91 games in center field, 74 in left, 77 in right. So not only can they use him in the corner outfield spots, as Brandon Gomes just pointed out, they can move him around. You could have him in center, and you have Pages in left. You can have him in left, and you can have Conforto on the bench if you think there's a better matchup for him. So they're going to have some flexibility. He's going to kind of play a fourth outfielder type of role. And the Dodgers, in this deal, you give up Eric Swan and Sean Paul Lignon. And Eric Swan, of course, a big dude, 103, a guy who was a converted shortstop, right, that he played at Middle Tennessee State, just throwing hard, taking advantage of his upside. But these aren't big-time major prospects in any way, shape, or form, right? These aren't prospects that would even be considered for a guy like a Stephen Kwan, not even in the least. And when I say that, when I titled this that the Dodgers may have done something crazy, and I said it earlier today, I mean, is this Temu Stephen Kwan? Is this Wish.com Stephen Kwan? Is this the, hey, we have Stephen Kwan at home when you ask your parents when you go out to eat? No, we got Stephen Kwan at home. No, but they did bring him home. And when Alex got the call, I think that this Dodgers team was excited that they got him because they were able to get a guy that does Stephen Kwan-ish things for a fraction of the price. Another trade where they got a guy and they gave up nothing. Like when you're like a billionaire and like you spend money, you probably don't even like open your app to check if that money's gone, right? You don't. That's how these trades worked out for the Dodgers. They gave up things that they're not even going to know it's gone. It's not going to reflect on their balance, okay? And when I say that the Dodgers may have done something crazy, just look at these comparisons with Stephen Kwan and Alex Call. And sure, like I'm not saying that Alex Call is better than Stephen Kwan. I'm not, okay? I really am not. But I am saying that, one, Stephen Kwan is going to play mainly corner outfield first of all. So just doing that alone limits kind of what he does for this team, because the truth is the Dodgers, they see their corner outfield spots. They believe in Conforto. They do. And, of course, Teo's Teo, right? So just look at these Savant pages. Alex Call is the one on the right. Stephen Kwan is the one on the left. So you look at expected batting average. Kwan, he wins there. 78th percentile, 278. Slug, almost identical. A 385 slug for Stephen Kwan as far as the expected slug. And for Call, it's 367. Average exit velocity, on average, Call actually hits the ball harder on average than Stephen Kwan. Bail percentage, he actually is higher than Stephen Kwan. Hard hit percentage is actually higher. And yes, it's both blue and it's not good or above average, but the similarities are just kind of eerie when you think about it. I mean, you look at the strikeout rate down below. An 8.4% strikeout rate for Stephen Kwan, a 15.2% strikeout rate for Alex Call. Alex Call in the 83rd percentile, Kwan in the 99th percentile. Whiff percentage, 86th percentile, 16.8% of the time for Call, and 8.8% of the time for Kwan. So yes, Kwan strikes out less, he swings and misses less, but still, that's well above average for Call. And the player profile, there's things that are close. Look at the bat speed for Kwan in the 1 percentile, and it's also low for him. And then also, too, as far as running goes, Call is a faster runner. He's an above-average runner, and defensively, he's actually having a better year. So, look, when I say they might have done something crazy, you kind of might have, because the truth is, Kwan did not get dealt, right? If Kwan was traded to the Dodgers, I'd be stoked. I'd be hitting the Kwan right now for you guys while doing a shoey, but he did not get dealt. But if he was dealt, it would have been for very top prospects. His surplus value is over 50, and you would have to have given up top prospects, multiple top prospects to get Steven Kwan because he's an all-star bat that's under team control for multiple seasons. But instead, they got Alex Call that it's not going to hurt them in the pocket, and he's going to do similar things this year. So the truth is, look, I mean, we can harp all day about what they did do or what they didn't do, but it doesn't matter who they brought in. If they could have traded for Mason Miller, they could have traded for Johan Duran. And yes, this team's ceiling would have been better as a bullpen, for sure, right? But even if you brought those guys in, if Mookie doesn't hit, if Freddie doesn't hit, if Shohei doesn't hit, if Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow don't stay healthy, and Shohei doesn't do what he does on the mound, this team is not going to win the World Series, right? But if all of those guys do that, and then you get the contributions from Teo and Muncy and Smith and the other parts of this order, they're going to win, right? So the truth is there wasn't a player that I think that was traded to a team that if that player had been traded to the Dodgers, it really changes very much as far as just the calculus of what they need from their roster and what's in place. So that's where I'm at on Alex Call. I think it was a good call by the Dodgers to bring him in. Just two very undervalued, underrated guys that the Dodgers were able to get for a bucket of baseballs and a half-eaten bag of Funyuns. Just a really, really nice pickup for the Dodgers. And then another interesting nugget from Brandon Gomes was he was asked about Dustin May and the decision to trade him and if Dustin May had requested a trade. And here was Gomes on the May trade.
Look, we had a lot of really respectful conversations with D-May, and he's been a huge part of the organization for a long time. And, through those conversations, it was apparent that starting was very important to him. And, while we felt like, he could have been a contributor out of the bullpen in an impact type piece, trying to understand the mindset and his desire to continue to start. We took that into consideration, and if there was a deal that we felt made sense, we were going to be open to do it. So that's kind of how it came together, and I think it worked out for both sides there. These were just conversations that we had. Yeah, he did not ask for a trade.
So he said he did not ask for a trade, but there was conversations. I've been saying on this show for months now that I felt like Dustin May was this year's version of James Paxton, and then sure enough, he gets traded to the same team that James Paxton was traded to when the Dodgers dealt him to Boston last season. And yeah, look, Dustin May, for me, if you were going to keep Dustin May, I think you would have kept him just as a starter because, hey, if these guys go down, he's an insurance plan, right? He's an insurance plan in the event that you lose Glasnow, Yamamoto, one of these guys, because he's shown the ability to start. And he has stuff that does play up in the postseason. But in the bullpen, I wasn't a huge fan because I don't think in the bullpen it makes sense just because has given up 16 home runs, doesn't strike out guys at a high clip. For me, it was just if you're going to keep May, keep him, and then don't even do him the favor, right? I mean, look, this is not a charity here, right? We're not giving away participation trophies, Capri Suns, and orange slices, okay? But now that I look at what the Dodgers got in return for Dustin May, this might go down as the craziest thing that they got in this deal. The Dodgers, I was thinking, look, who cares? Because May's a negative WAR player, right? He's got an ERA of well over 5 in the last third of the season. He's just not someone that is a frontline starting pitcher. That's just not what Dustin May is. And somehow, some way, the Dodgers managed to get James Tibbs. That's Boston's number 5 rated prospect. He was a first-round pick from the Giants. Boston got him in the Rafael Devers trade, one of the headliners of the Rafael Devers trade. And they traded him to the Dodgers for a negative WAR pitcher on an expiring deal that's going to be a free agent after this season. that it's in his final year of arbitration, and you're able to get a prospect of that caliber. That is an otherworldly return. So the Dodgers either got something and gave up nothing for Alex Call and Brock Stewart, or they gave up nothing and got something. Like, it's like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. How does he keep doing this? Like, how do they keep doing this? It was just a brilliant move by the Dodgers. Look at baseball trade values. They tweet out, today the Red Sox reportedly acquired right-handed pitcher Dustin May, $2.3 million surplus trade value from the Dodgers in exchange for outfielders James Tibbs, $9.1 million, and Zach Earnhardt at $2.5 million. They also got the other player in this deal. They got another player too, which is crazy. Another outfielder in Zach Earnhardt at $2.5 million. It says the deal is rejected by our model as an overpay by Boston. And yes, baseball trade values is a lot of fun. It's not the end all be all when it comes to making trades and things like that. But the fact that that's that. I mean, you got James Tibbs in this situation. It's just an incredible deal for a prospect that has just a ton of upside that you can use to make trades in the offseason, you can use to develop in your own organization. And Brandon Gomes talked about this, that the Dodgers, they have been in on Tibbs for a while, that he was high on their big board in the draft, and that they probably jumped at this opportunity to go and get Tibbs. Here was Brandon Gomes talking about the return they got for Dustin May.
Yeah, Tibbs is somebody we had really high in our room last year coming out of the draft. Just a really advanced feel to hit and working at bat. And it was somebody that, had he been there, we definitely would have taken. And obviously he went well ahead of us at 13. So we're excited to get our PD group working with him. And then, Earnhardt is somebody who's really intriguing that we feel like, from the right-handed side can really play defense. And with some upside from talking to our, performance group, he's a really good athlete, and we feel like we can continue to, work with him. And we're excited about adding both of those guys as, future talent, and hopefully factoring in at some point, down the line in the big leagues with us.
That's just huge. I mean, it really is. I mean, the fact that you get him in this organization with their player development and what they can do with guys, I mean, that was an unbelievable pickup. It truly was. And Dustin May is a guy that just was not going to be on this postseason roster if everyone stayed healthy. Like, sure, I get it. If they lose a ton of starters the next couple of weeks, you're going to say, oh, we should have kept Dustin May. Yeah, then possibly. But they feel good about where they're at. And let's not forget, if Blake Snell was traded today, best player, not even close. I mean, like, the thing is, like, a lot of guys just did not get traded, right? I mean, Luis Robert Jr. didn't get traded. Sandy Alcantara didn't get traded. Pete Fairbanks didn't get traded. I mean, there's guys that Marcell Ozuna didn't get traded. Jaron Duran didn't get traded. Mackenzie Gore didn't get traded. Zach Gallen didn't get traded. Stephen Kwan didn't get traded. So it'd be one thing if, like, those guys got traded and you could kind of compare that to the comps and you could say, oh, wait, the Dodgers could have matched that. But that just was not the case. And then there is the San Diego Padres, who, yeah, I'm sure it's exciting down in San Diego. I know that there's a big parade down at Gaslamp. I know that tomorrow they're hanging the 2025 trade deadline champions banner at Petco Park. But it didn't sound like Brandon Gomes was that scared of the Padres and what they did at the deadline with A.J. Preller doing A.J. Preller things. Like he's like a day trader just going crazy, right? Here's Brandon Gomes talking about the Padres at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of action today throughout the game, and, a lot of teams improved. We feel really good about this group, and coming into the year felt like this was as talented of a roster as we've ever had. And, we're in the position we're in first place, and I don't even think we've played our best baseball yet. So as we continue to get some of our starters back, and then adding these pieces and our guys just kind of playing up to their potential, we feel like, still a really, really strong team, and we don't feel any differently about, our aspirations than we did at the beginning of the year.
So I think that's good confidence. I think that it doesn't change anything. I mean, look, it's crazy what going 24 straight innings without scoring a run can do to a team. And the Dodgers, they messed up that Padres team, right? And they forced them to go absolutely insane. And look, sure, give them credit. I mean, the Padres are really good for baseball, and it remains to be seen how that works out. The Padres win the World Series this year, and those additions are a reason why. And sure, A.J. Preller looks like the smartest GM in the room. But at some point for the Padres, it's like, hey, man, if you keep these guys for long enough, you'll end up with a better team that you had when you just dealt all of these guys. I mean, look what James Wood's doing for the Nationals. I mean, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, and the Soto deal. I mean, there's a method to his madness. A.J. Preller is a mad scientist. But like I said, for all the people that are showing all this love to the Padres, if you offered A.J. Preller the Dodgers roster, he would take it 10 out of 10 times, right? There's no doubt about it, right? The Dodgers have a better roster than the Padres after this deadline, and it's not even close if everyone is healthy and performing to their ability. Like, let's just be honest. Like, just because you didn't get the shiny new toy today, one of the reasons why you didn't get a shiny new toy today was because you get new toys all year round, right? You already had those shiny new toys, and you already had a stacked roster. So that is where the Dodgers are at. I feel really good about where they're at heading down to the home stretch. I think it's going to be a competitive, lights out, electric last 30% of the season, where the Padres are 3 games back from the Dodgers. I think that it prevents them from getting complacent. And I just look at this roster right now, and it got better today, and they didn't have to give up much. The fact that the Dodgers actually gained today while not having to part ways with a lot of stuff, and also giving guys opportunities too. I mean, James Outman, Hunter Fiducia. I mean, we'll talk about Gervais yesterday and the guys that got in that deal. I feel really good about where the Dodgers are at. I feel better about the Dodgers today than I did yesterday, because they got a reliever that can be used in leverage situations, that can dominate right-handed hitters. They also got an outfielder that's above average defensively at all 3 outfield positions. It's also an above average bat. And then you have a current roster filled with all-stars and future Hall of Famers and MVPs. But, all right, guys, let me get some of your comments. It's going to be kind of a quick show. I've been going live basically 15,000 hours in the last day. So I'll do some more here. We got, okay, your off base. The Dodgers roster is not much better. Did I say much better? Did I say much better? Can we rewind the part and scrub back, John Lauro over on X? Rewind the part where I said they got much better. Did I say much better? Did I say it got better? It actually, because it got better, not much better. Much better and better are very different. Much means a lot more, means much more. I said they got better. They did. This roster got better today. And you also preserve all of your bullets in your war chest so you can go and make moves in the offseason. And then you can have an extended run with Shohei Ohtani, where you're trying to win multiple championships. A couple years from now, I mean, Preller, how much longer can he keep doing this, right? And it's still, he hasn't won a World Series, right? Show me when that actually works. Show me when Preller's way works. When it works, I mean, that trophy case is emptier than the toilet paper aisle during COVID, right? There's nothing there. And until I see it work, I'm going to trust the guy's method that does work. Because Andrew Friedman's has worked for 2 that should have been 3 because that cheated in 2017. So the Dodgers actually do this whole baseball operations thing better than A.J. Preller and the Padres do. There's no doubt about that. Okay? Let's just be honest. I didn't say much better. They got better. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The Padres win the trophy for the ugliest uniforms. Hey, some people actually really like them. Yeah. Breaking news, the Padres traded their farm from Dant_B2B. We got, it's not 2023. How you doing? So we got some Padres fans going at it. Padres in the chat. Yeah, absolutely. D-Mac, it's not a lie if you believe it. First of all, if you're going to throw George Costanza lines at me, I'm going to show you some love. So I appreciate that. That's a comment to the show. Dodgers got better. If everyone stays healthy, Dodgers win the World Series. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Come on, dude. Hey, it's a late night show. It's 11 o'clock here in L.A., so Dax players, D-Mac's had a long day. Brianna Rochelle, D-Mac working overtime. We appreciate all the work and dedication you have to give us any news, D-Mac. Appreciate you, Brianna. And I promise you, Brianna, I'm going to get those cards, and we're going to get the Oral Hershiser. We're going to get that oral autograph. We got this. We got a bullpen now from Luis. 2023 D-backs own the Dodgers Padres. Sandy Huevo, 24 innings. Let's go down below. What's up, Ralph Marquez, 7160. Joshua, I thought this year's team need a bat like Kwan, but we shall see. I hope I am wrong. Hey, like I said, we got Timu Kwan, baby. We got Wish.com Kwan. I mean that in a complimentary way. Alex Call can ball. We've got Greatness, Dell 1381, Kwan for Hope and Freeland. Now or Kwan for Freeland in a lottery ticket the offseason. Hey, they're going to make moves this offseason. I mean, they just will. And that's when they'll address their needs with their top-level prospects, because at some point you got to play all these guys. Love all the Padres talk. Honestly, hey, UPS uniforms I see in the chat. Like the Padres-Dodgers thing, it's good for baseball, man. And it's all love. And I got a lot of very close friends that are Friars. All right? I really do. My friend Borna is a big Padres fan. You guys remember Borna? I think he should unretire. I love that dude. KD7, you the GOAT DM. You the GOAT KD7. Drink to that DM. We need the Oral 101. We do. Really do. Uncle Balls. Come on, Ralph. Okay, guys. Yeah, we talked about the Dustin May trade. I think it was a A+ trade for the Dodgers. An A+ trade for the Dodgers based on what they got. But all right, guys, supposed to be a shorter show because we wanted to run down Brandon Gomes' reaction to the trade deadline. And now we have a better understanding. We see Love 905 sign Clase. That really was their guy, right? That Clase was their guy. If of all the top guys that were somewhat attainable, Clase was the guy. We all know that that just wasn't a safe bet, if you know what I mean. I didn't receive my UPS package today. SMH, signed Clase. Nestor Cortez shaking in his cleats right now. I know. He's going to have nightmares of Freddie Freeman. And, of course, he thinks that was a good pitch, but what a moment. I mean, Nestor Cortez will always be the guy that served up that bomb, that walk-off grand slam. Retire me, team. Yeah, if we get the Oral Hershiser, absolutely. Roy Estrada, appreciate you, my man. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. We'll be back tomorrow trying to get Buster Olney from ESPN on the show to break down the Dodgers deadline deals, which I'm becoming an even bigger fan of, and I look at the roster and the guys are going to get back, and we're feeling really good about our chances of going to back. Let's not forget, hey, the Beat LA chants are coming, but you got to beat the champs to be the champs. And right now, that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. But all right, guys, that's going to do it, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, hit the like button on your way out for your Los Angeles Dodgers. Follow me on X, Instagram, at TikTok, and TikTok at DMAC_LA. Also, join the Discord, join the big lead. See you guys tomorrow. We did it. We made it through another deadline. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warrior Parade. We got it, Parade. The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series. Ohtani starts the 50-50 clock. Monkey magic. Cleveland gets the ball. Right field. She is gone. Start the party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers